Alrighty, we have to figure out a way to keep track of when our hedgehog, so this is for Flappy Bird. We want to be able to keep score. So unfortunately, keeping score in Flappy Bird is going to be a little hard, especially for students who have multiple walls in their sprites. Um, How can we do this? We need a hitbox inside of this, maybe just like a circle in the middle of each of these. And when we hit that circle, we should gain a point. So let's start by adding the score variable. We'll have our hedgehog. We'll have the score variable in our hedgehog. Actually, yeah, let's do it in the hedgehog. It'll be fine. So let's make a variable, and let's make score. And our score should be a variable that starts. So when it receives game start, it should be set to 0. When the game starts, it should be set to 0. I'm using when I receive game start because this student has a main menu screen. What we need is each time we pass through one of these gates, I'm actually going to cheat this time. I'm just going to grab him and kind of float him through these. So each time we pass through one of those gates, we should gain some score. So let's add a sprite. Is this creating clones of itself? Okay, it is. Let's try go to walls. Let's see what this does. Okay, that locks it on the original one, so that's not going to work. Okay, here's what we need. Here's what we're going to do. I thought about it and I figured out the solution. We're going to create a new sprite, and it's going to be called, it's going to be this big rectangle, but it's going to be fill nothing. This button down here is fill it with nothing, and the outline is going to be nothing. This is an invisible rectangle. It exists, but it's invisible. And we're going to call this score box. And what we're going to do is every time this wall starts moving, so every time this wall starts gliding across the screen, we could broadcast a new message, and we could broadcast wall starting. And then once the wall starts going across, we could copy this code. Once the wall starts going across, we can copy this exact glide and put it into our wall hitbox, our score hitbox. So when the wall starts moving, this invisible rectangle will receive wall starting. So now we don't see it. Let me make it so we can see it for now, just to start with. So let's make it so we can see it for now. So now this invisible rectangle should, it's not forever. It needs to, when I receive wall starting, broadcast wall starting. Let's see what happens. So each time the wall starts gliding, it should make a broadcast, but I guess it doesn't. Strange. Wall starting. Oh, I see. It needs to go to. We need to copy this go to as well. It's gliding to the right spot, but it's not starting in the right spot. So when it receives wall starting, it's going to go to the wall. It's going to go to wherever the wall starts, and it's going to glide to wherever the wall finishes. But it's going to be invisible. And what it's going to do is when the game starts, so when it receives game start, when the person clicks the start button on the main menu, because the student had a main menu, it's going to forever be checking if it's touching the hedgehog. And if this big purple rectangle, which is going to be invisible, If this big purple head rectangle is touching the hedgehog, is touching your sprite, then we know to increase our score variable, then change score by 1. So now, all right, my hedgehog died. Okay, hold on. I need to make it so that when game starts, we set score to 0. And I need to make it so that, does this touch if it's invisible? If it's invisible, they're never touching. We'll do this slightly janky then. Maybe we'll give it an outline. Sorry, guys, this is going to take a second. So if I give it an outline, if I select this rectangle, and I give it a blue outline, and I start game, okay, perfect. Unfortunately, I got 127 points from going through that. What I want to get 1 point for going through that. So what we'll do is we'll say, if it touches the hedgehog, increase the score by 1, and then hide it. And we'll say that each time the wall shows up, we'll show it. So now it can only give us 1 point each time we touch it. If I touched it, it's going to get hidden, and I died. All right, this is now working. I'm very happy because I kind of made this up on the spot. All right, perfect. We touch our little hitbox. It gives us 1 point, and we continue playing our game. Each time a wall spawns, it spawns one of these hitboxes. Oh, but there might be a small problem. We should actually hide the real one, and when it receives the wall, it should actually start as a clone. And then the clone should do the wall thing. That'll make it even better. It might not work sometimes if your walls are too fast, unless you do that. But now this piece of the code isn't working. Now it needs to be when I start as clone. Okay, now everything will work. Let's see. The reason that wasn't working is because the clone wasn't checking for collisions. Only the main one was. Okay, so that worked. I lost. Dang it. Okay, I got 3 points, though. Let's try to get a high score before we end the video. Oh my god, I touched the edge. That's 1. Let's go for 5. If we get 5, I'll be happy. Got 7. Interesting. Got 15 from that one. There's a glitch somewhere. I'll say it's on purpose. I don't know. Let's see why that's happening. If it's touching the hedgehog, then change the score by 1 and hide it. When I receive wall starting, create a clone. Is wall starting happening multiple times? Wall starting happens once. And I'm just gonna click and drag the hedgehog. And let's speed this game up a little bit. Let's wait 2 seconds. Now I can see the code happen a little bit faster. So that one gave me a few points. If touching hedgehog, there's still a bug. I want to debug this. So this is rare footage of the teacher debugging code. So that gave me 2 points. Okay, I see. This is going to give me 1 point. This is going to give me 2 points. This is going to give me 3 points. That gave me 4. Interesting. This is going to give me I see. Okay, so each time this wall is never deleting itself. When it starts as a clone, it goes over here and it glides across. And then we'll delete the clone. Let's see if that helps. I have a suspicion that our problem was caused by too many clones, maybe? 3, 4, 5. Each time this happens, we get one more clone spawning. What is happening there? When I receive game start, wait 2 seconds. Let's see. So what I did there is I made the walls move a little bit faster. Okay. So this is working now. If the walls delete before the next wall spawns, then it works. But why is that? When I start as clone, ah, sorry, I'm just debugging this. Let's see. Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 21. The clones aren't deleting. Okay, if I pass this without picking it up, that still deletes. Maybe this will be more obvious if they're colored in. Still debugging. Sometimes we take a second to fix bugs. This is going to be our debugging video. So maybe if I fill in the rectangle, it'll be more obvious why this isn't working. 1 rectangle, 2 rectangles, 3 rectangles, 4 rectangles. Maybe it's a math problem. Maybe I'm increasing the score by the wrong number. When I start as clone, if I delete the clone right after I score, it should never happen again, right? If I get the score, and then the clone gets deleted, there's no way that this clone will still be around. There we go. Okay, we fixed it. I just needed to put it so that every time I get a score, every time I score a point, it deletes the clone. Now I can get rid of this rectangle again. And now I just have that thin blue line. Maybe if I want to be really sneaky, I can color it the same color as the background to make it even harder to tell that there's a blue line there. Okay, so that was kind of a video on debugging as well, but hopefully through this video, it's probably like 15 minutes long at this point, we have a good idea of how to put hitboxes into our Flappy Bird games that have scores. I think that because it's kind of complicated to have these sprites move in synchronization, maybe I won't necessarily make it so that you need to have it so that you need 1 point for one score. Maybe I'll let it slide if you have like 170 points each time you touch the line or some weird number. It could actually be fun that way. So, but you definitely need a score for every game, including Flappy Bird. So if you have Flappy Bird, you should try to add some system like this where you have a rectangle that gives you points when you touch it. I took a long time to debug one. I came in here without really knowing what I was doing. I kind of played around with it and I kind of figured it out. But that might be a real challenge. So that's why we made the video though, because now you guys have seen it happen. You guys should be able to maybe go through this, see each step that I did, and kind of figure out how to make this in your own game if you haven't already. Usually when you watch these videos, you should follow along, but it's okay. I'll see you all in a little bit. Please email me if you need help.